Hey everybody, this is Synik25 here, bringing you another YuGiOh deck profile, and this one's on my Mecha Phantom Beast-Karakuri deck. So, this is an extremely fast OTK deck. It can pull off OTKs like nobody's business, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So, let's get right into it. So, we start off here with 3 Mega Raptor, 3 Tetherwolf, and pretty stable in any Mecha Phantom Beast deck, and any Mecha Phantom Beast-Karakuri deck as well. So, Mega Raptor and Tetherwolf work pretty well in conjunction with each other, in the sense that a Mega Raptor summons a token whenever another token is summoned. So, if you have Mega Raptor on the field, and you summon Tetherwolf, then Mega Raptor will summon another token, and then you can consume that token to search for any other Mecha Phantom Beast, such as Blue Impala if you want to get your synchros going. Now, what's also nice is that because Tetherwolf summons a token when he's summoned, both of these are now 7s, and then you can overlay for your Draco Sacks, your Big Eyes, or anything really. So these work pretty well. In regards to the other Mecha Phantom Beasts, I'm running 2 Haryard and 2 Coltwing, and then these two also work pretty well in conjunction with each other, kind of similarly to how Mega Raptor works well with Tetherwolf. So if you have Haryard on the field along with 1 token, you can consume that token to special summon Coltwing, and then when Coltwing is special summoned, it'll special summon 2 more tokens, and then you can activate Coltwing's effect to consume both of those tokens and then destroy and banish 1 card on the field. And then Haryard's effect will activate, which will replace one of the tokens that Coltwing used. And then both of these become 7s, and then you can overlay for your Draco Sacks and Big Eyes, so it's pretty cool. But the main OTK part of this deck really comes through with this Blue Impala. So this is really your wonder tuner of the deck, because it can synchro with any Mecha Phantom Beast in your hand. It doesn't have to be on the field. And my main synchro target is really this Coltwing, because I like it in the grave because I can call the Haunted it, and then it comes back and summons 2 more tokens, and it sets up a pretty nice field. So Blue Impala works really, really well as a OTK machine. Now finally, I have 1 Hamstrat here. I used to run 2, but now I'm only running 1 because 2 gets a little bit cloggy. It's nice when you get it early game because it sets up a pretty nice field for you with tokens, but if you get it mid to late game, it ends up being a little bit dead. Now, in regards to the Karakuri engine, I'm running a 3 Sazon because Sazon's just really good. It's a level 4 tuner. You can synchro with it with tokens, which are all level 3 to make your berets, and it's just overall pretty solid. I'm running 2 Quick. Now, I usually go into this guy late into the OTK chain. Usually it's usually my last choice, actually. And then if I can destroy a monster with it, I can bring back another Karakuri, and then, go on the Sazon, make a Stardust Dragon or something, make any kind of 8. Or I can even bring back the Nishi and make another 7. Then Nishi herself is also a pretty good choice here, so it helps me make my 7s. If I bring it out with Beret and I have Quick in my hand, I can just drag Quick from my hand and make another 7 that way. So this is the main monster lineup. In regards to the spell lineup, every single spell in this lineup is meant to support the OTK. Keep it going in the face of adversity. Desynchro is one of those cards. So it works well in this deck because if you summon out Beret and then Beret brings out the dog, you desynchro Beret, you keep the dog that was special summoned, and then you go back into Beret, special summon another Karakuri from the deck like Quick, and then you can synchro with Sazon and Quick for another synchro. So desynchro turns into like a free extra synchro monster. But it's also really good with the Coltwing. So if you synchro Blue Impala and Coltwing into Beret, and then you summon out Sazon from the deck, then you desynchro out Beret, bring back Blue Impala and Coltwing. Coltwing's effect then activates when it's special summoned to summon 2 more tokens, and then Sazon's sitting pretty nice here with a full field of tokens, and you're ready to spam the field. So desynchro is really great in this deck. It's what really makes your OTK, in the sense that you just had all you need really are these 3 cards: Blue Impala, Coltwing, and desynchro. You have these 3, you have an OTK. Running 1 Dark Hole here just because you want to clear the board to make your OTKs easier. 2 Iron Call just to keep the process going, keep the loop going, and just help it support it. 2 MSTs because you hate back row. 1 Limited Removal because any machine-based OTK deck wouldn't be complete without it. And finally, 2 My Body's a Shield. Now, I was originally running Forbidden Lance in this spot, but I decided to opt out of it because with how much I spam the board, I want something that can protect all of my monsters, not just 1. Forbidden Lance can only keep 1 of them on the field, especially if my opponent pops a Mirror Force. Well, Forbidden Lance isn't going to help me too much there, especially if I have 5 monsters on board. So My Body's a Shield is a pretty good sub-in for Forbidden Lance if I'm running a lot of monsters that are spamming. As for the trap lineup, although it looks like I'm running a pretty heavy trap lineup, I'm really not. In fact, there's only like about 6 cards here that are really defensive, and Waboku resigns me just to buy me a little bit of time, which you do need. There are times where you just need that consistent turn to set up, and Waboku really affords you that. Now I'm running just 1 bottomless, 1 compulse, 2 fiendish to stop your opponent from setting up his plays. Now, I'm also running 2 Allier Recharge here. Now, I know a lot of Mecha Phantom Beast-Karakuri decks don't run this card, but I find it very valuable because more tokens equals more power. And the more ways you have to get out your level 3 tokens, the more you're going to be able to crank out your big plays. And it works also really well with Mega Raptor. So whenever a token is summoned, like I said, he summons another one. It just keeps getting more tokens, so you have more fuel to OTK. And finally, 2 Call to Haunt It. So this just really, again, supports the OTK. You keep getting back your tuners or your Mecha Phantom Beast level 4 monsters just to keep the OTK process going. And as I mentioned previously, it also works pretty well with Cult Wing. If you special summon it, summons 2 more tokens, and it makes you feel pretty awesome for that OTK. So this is the main deck. It's pretty fast. Has 2 drawbacks though. The first is that it runs through its resources pretty quickly. But that is something that you would generally expect in OTK decks. So that's whatever. But the second is that the deck can be fairly inconsistent at times because I'm not running duality, and I end up getting either too many tuners or not enough tuners or just too many spells or too many traps, and ends up really giving me a hard time. But fortunately, this deck really has an amazing ability to make something from nothing. As I mentioned previously, all you really need is Blue Impala, Cult Wing, and Desynchro, and you have a full field ready just to go off. But sometimes you don't even get that. And also, you have to take into consideration that your opponent has back row, and if you don't draw into your mystical spaces or your My Body's a Shield, you might have a little bit of tough time getting through. So this deck is really dependent on having its OTK play, as well as the support to take out back row and keep the loop going. But as for the extra deck, running 1 Crimson Blader, 1 Scrap Dragon, 2 Burrito, 1 Stardust, 3 Beret. Now I know some Mecha Phantom Beast-Karakuri decks only run 2, but I'm running 3 because you really make this guy a lot. I mean, all you need to make this thing is size onto the token, and with the amount of tokens you make in this deck, you're going to be making this Beret a lot. And in most of my duels, I end up making all of them. So in my opinion, he's mandatory at 3. 1 Black Rose because you just want to blow up the field occasionally. Gustav Max, Master Blades, Draco Sack, Big Eye, Girgin X, and then Lightning Chidori because all your Mecha Phantom Beast wins. Now, these cards down here obviously is not a real side deck. These are just other cards I've considered putting in. Tried Beast Griffin at one point, especially with Sacred Sword of 7 stars. With that being down to 1 now, it's just become less useful. 1 Summoner Monk. This I had in for a while. It worked fairly well, but it ended up making me go minus occasionally, and I didn't like to forfeit some of these spells because they helped the OTK. And the only card I was ever able to utilize with Summoner Monk was Saizon, but because all the Karikuris have restrictions and it needs to be a machine-type monster, the only level 8s I can make were just these generics, and it ended up limiting, I guess, the options I had with the big plays. So I ended up opting out of Summoner Monk. I've tried these level 1 tokens at one point and it helped me make a Caster, but just didn't really serve the main goal of the deck because all I really could make with it was Catastor, so ended up taking that out. Creature Swap, however, was a very interesting card, and I liked it a lot. It was nice. This card really is a game changer. The reason I took it out was because, 1, I didn't have any room. I wanted to have all these cards here to support the OTK, and 2, I actually like the tokens. Because as I mentioned previously, more tokens equals more power. And sometimes I really didn't like giving my opponent that token because sometimes that token can be the difference between an OTK or not. So that's kind of why I ended up opting out of Creature Swap, but if you want to try a version of this build with it, it will work pretty well. But for my build at least, I'm opting out of Creature Swap. 1 Book of Moon. I like this card, but again, like I said, just no space. 1 Torrential. Didn't work because I just didn't like destroying my tokens occasionally. 1 Solemn because my Body is a Shield ended up eating up my life points enough, and having Solemn in there just didn't help paying that 2,000 cost. And then finally, Horn of Heaven. Same problem with Creature Swap and Torrential. I just didn't like anything that ended up having me to use my tokens for something else other than generating an OTK. So this is the deck. It's pretty fast. Doesn't take too much to go off. Its just main problem was consistency. But really, if you're looking for a pretty fast machine-based OTK deck, definitely give this one a spin. It's pretty fun. It's pretty wild. So Hope you guys liked it, and as always, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and take care.